dream as a kid to, go play at this stadium, and it's a historical stadium, a lot of, great games played in there, and, to go for my first opportunity to be, up there against a great team, is going to be an honor, and I can't wait.
Dan, how can this Packers defense slow down Stroud and the Texans?
Yeah, penetration and then speed. Joe Mixon's top 8 in the NFL, 5.5 yards per carry. So Houston's run game is really the difference in their offense from last year to this year. I think the Packers this year do a really good job of, number one, getting penetration. Everybody on their defense tries to get upfield. You'll see it from Kenny Clark. You'll see it from Rashawn Gary. They're just trying to essentially blow up the play and force backs to go laterally. And no matter who it is, they do a really good job of tying that penetration to also setting the edge. I think Rashawn Gary's done a fantastic job of that this year. And then once they force those backs to shuffle their feet, Edgerrin Cooper, who is their draft pick this year, rookie linebacker, his speed and vision at backer has really just started to show up. I don't think Houston can win this game if they're forced to play one-dimensional, as remarkable as C.J. Stroud has been this year. I think this is a good matchup for Green Bay's front seven with the way they penetrate, set the edge, and then Cooper runs to the football. I'll be interested to see who wins that matchup.
Yeah, I love that part of it. And even what you just showed, a lot of that was single high safety, and they're dropping people down in the box. And I think they have that ability, and you're looking at a Houston offense without Nico Collins. Jair Alexander, a guy now that you can match up on Stephon Diggs and feel good about where you are defensively and allow those guys to commit to stopping Joe Mixon, but also getting pressure on C.J. Stroud. And then Xavier McKinney. This is a guy that's just intercepting a pass every single week for the Green Bay Packers and their defense. So to Dan's point, when you can commit to stopping the run and force a team to be one-dimensional, but then you have to have the guys in the back end that can back that up and go out there and cover people. Kayshawn Nixon has been a slot guy. He's moved to the outside and played more outside cornerback this year and is doing that at a high level as well.
Quick question about Jair. Do you think he's been more physical at the line this year than in the past?
I would say yes, but I think that's always been a part of his game. He's a guy that loves to trash talk, get in your face, and he loves to back it up. So he's a guy you just love to watch compete. So yes, he has been extremely physical. Just going against Marvin Harrison Jr. a week ago, he was unbelievable on the field.
Yeah, I think he smelled some blood in the water when he's going against a rookie a little bit. I think there was some
Even as good as he is.
As good as he is. I think what the Texans have done this year is they've kind of built a blueprint to mitigate against the sophomore slump. They've given him a credible amount of depth, C.J. Stroud, and
okay, so I want to talk about the Packers because I guess they're now going to start to talk about the Texans. Yeah, this is going to be a really interesting game, and for you Texans fans, I'll probably watch that rest of that clip and just kind of make a Texans video, kind of just separate it so I don't make this video like real long. But for the Packers fans out there, or anyone else who cares, yeah, this game to me is going to be a really, really, really fascinating game for a multitude of reasons. One, as you guys know, I picked both these quarterbacks to be my front runners for the MVP. That's who I just predicted before the season ever even started. Both CJ Stroud and Jordan Love, I just think are just two top level quarterbacks. And right now, both 5-1, 4-2. Of course, Jordan Love got off to a different start because of injuries and whatnot. So this game is going to definitely test both teams. And when you get two such great quarterbacks going head to head, I'm always conflicted on the best way of how a team is going to maximize their ability to win. Because a lot of times when you have such great quarterbacks, and granted maybe quarterbacks who are a little bit more established in their careers for both of them, you know they're going to get their points. You know they're going to get their yards or passes. Like, they're going to do their awesome things, right? They're going to be them. You can't completely slow them down and minimize too strongly what they do great. That's what makes them great, right? Like, it's harder for them to slow down. So then it's like, okay, so then how do you win this game, right? Like, what is the approach? And that's when it comes to where it's either like your quarterback, your offense just has to be that much better, right? It just has to be like, if your quarterback puts up 350 yards for 3 touchdowns, well, my quarterback's going to put up 375, 3 touchdowns and a field goal, whatever it may be. Or it really is just which defense can just slow down, right? Like, it doesn't fall on the shoulders of the quarterback. It's just what defense can just disrupt you ever so slightly to just hold you back just enough so then that your offense kind of, can take over. And what we have learned about the Texans, and which is what they're kind of talking about, is when you make them one-dimensional, they struggle. When you take away their run game, they are not the same team. Like they definitely can struggle and kind of, like I always said this about them, they kind of feel like they're kind of playing in mud. And so that's what I'm really curious, because I had really high hopes for this Packers defense and upgrading and getting better in the offseason into this season. And I'm just really curious to see how they attack this, right? Because I think this is such a great barometer. And I know this team is far from who they want to be right now, the Packers. I get that. And same thing with Jordan Love. Like I've said this now a lot in a lot of Packers videos, that I've given Jordan Love a lot of grace in the beginning of the season because of how everything has kind of happened. And it's like from this point onward now, it's like the rust is gone. You're healthy. Let's continue to see let's continue to see top level MVP football. Like that is what I'm expecting out of Jordan Love. And so I want to see the defense really follow, because the Texans aren't 100% right now offensively. They are missing Nico Collins. And so when you're trying to figure out, because again, I'm looking at the Packers through the lens of a Super Bowl team, a contender. I've talked about, in the offseason that like the Packers, if they get a little lucky, like they're trying to build a dynasty with a team that they have, right? They have so many young guys who are going to come into their prime, and as long as they get a little lucky with a draft pick here or there and are aggressive, and maybe some free agencies, like they're looking to build their own juggernaut, right? Their own dominant team. And so a team now, the truly great teams are able to pounce on a team that's not 100%, right? Like it's like, no. If you really want to battle us, you got to be 100%. You need Nico. You need everything going. You need the run game. Like you can't beat us without your true best punch. And so that's why I'm really interested to kind of see what a game like this ultimately will look like. I think it'll be a great frame of reference as to who the Packers are right now. What do they need to kind of grow and develop as the season goes on, and what do they need to double down on? What do they maybe need to minimize for their own weaknesses? So I think this game is going to be like, I'm definitely going to be locked into this game, because I think this is ultimately the best barometer game, honestly, for both these teams in a lot of ways. But definitely the Packers. I know they played the Vikings. That was just such a weird game in terms of me trying to really kind of figure out like where are the Packers in this moment of time. It was Jordan Love's first game. The game kind of got out of control a little early, so it just kind of disrupted the flow of the game. Anytime a team can kind of get out hot and put up a lot of points early on, it you don't always get the most realistic representation of who a team is. So for me, it seems like both these teams are on equal footing right now. Again, I know both teams aren't 100% healthy, but it should still kind of equal out. And so I'm just curious to see what this looks like now. I think we'll learn a ton about the Packers, especially where Jordan Love is, and really also how strategic they are defensively. I have nothing but the of endless confidence on Matt LaFleur and that offense, and I will like never doubt the game plan and the plan of attack that the Packers have going into any game. I don't have that level of faith defensively. Not that I question it or that I doubt it or that I think they can't. I just don't have that level of confidence. Like I'm only gonna have really high levels of confidence that for people that I truly understand and know and have experience with, and that's Matt LaFleur and what the Packers have done. So defensively, I'm just curious if they really can pounce and make the Texans one-dimensional, right? Like if they can really do essentially what Dan Orlovsky highlighted, right? If they can really kind of go out there and say, we're going to force you to play the football that we want you to play, and if they'll be able to do that. And then from the Texans side, quite frankly, it'll be interesting to see if the Texans can overcome that, right? And if they can kind of have their own approach, because again, the Texans, make no mistake about it, are also a contender in the NFL right now, just obviously in the AFC. So this game could legitimately be whether it's this year or next year, like a Super Bowl matchup, right? Like that's why I think this is a barometer, right? Like this is, who are these teams? Right now, the Chiefs and the 49ers are so injured right now, but like when they play each other, right, it's like, who are these two teams right now? Like you know that those are two dominant, great teams historically. Again, this season obviously banged up, but you know, like, okay, this is where they stand. Which is why it was so jarring last season when the Ravens rolled the 49ers. It was like, wow, are the Ravens that good right now? Or the 49ers not as good? Like it's just all interesting points to kind of draw some conclusions. So it's cool that we get this game at a point where we can be like, okay, Jordan Love's definitely healthy, so we feel comfortable in that. CJ Stroud is healthy. Again, these teams are, for the most part, relatively healthy. It's early on enough in the season, but not too late. It's not too early where we're like, okay, they're still figuring stuff out, and it's not too late where it's like, yeah, they're kind of banged up now. Like, it just feels like a kind of a perfect time to kind of just really get some clarity, and that's ultimately what I'm looking for in this game. And again, a game like this, when you're playing two great contenders, I'm not the type of person where I'm like, the Packers need to prove that they can win this game. They need to prove that they can beat the Texans, or the Texans need to prove that they can beat the Packers. That's not the way I look at it. Definitely the Packers want to win because their division is so much closer and their margin of error is so much smaller. But for me, what I'm looking for more than anything is, do they just show that they are not outmatched, outmanned, and outplayed, which, of course, I don't think they will. But we will find out on Sunday. Excited for this game. Truly can't wait. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Texans versus the Packers? What do you think the Packers need to do to make this game maybe, a little bit easier? Slow down CJ Stroud, who is a top 5 MVP candidate right now. I believe 5 or 4. So he's obviously playing great. Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.